All right guys, welcome back. Today we are gonna attempt to try to wrap that whole front fender, and I'm gonna end up giving you guys some tips and tricks along the way that I've learned, and I'm gonna try to do this in real time. Might throw a little bit of time lapse inside of there, but most of this should be real time, and I'm gonna be explaining to you guys everything that I'm doing and how to do it and the best possible way for the best results for you guys to do it at home. If I can do it, you guys can do it. So let's get to this. All right, so the first thing you guys will probably notice, especially a professional if you're watching this, is I'm wrapping outside. And in the wrap community, as far as I've learned, that's kind of like a no-no, mainly because you can't control what's falling from the sky. You can't control heat, humidity, or none of that stuff. So you can always end up, there's always that possibility that you can end up with contaminants behind your wrap. And it's gonna show, trust me, it is gonna show. But sometimes you gotta just work with what you got. And I mean, I got a garage, it's blistering heat inside of it. I had a shop and sold it like 2 years ago, but today this is all I got is just my side yard. And gotta make it work with what you got, man. That's what it's all about. And this is my first wrap job. I know that there's gonna be imperfections. Trust me, there is. But I'm getting familiar with it. This is me trying and actually just figuring it out. That's what it's always about, is just getting out and actually trying to figure it out. But the first thing I'm gonna do, I've already washed the whole truck multiple different times, but you can't, again, it's outside. You can't completely just keep it clean as good as you washed it. So I got my alcohol and dissolvent solution right here. I'm going to completely spray down this fender and wipe it multiple times. All right, now that we've gotten it completely wiped down, the next thing that I would recommend you guys do, this is something I highly recommend not doing it outside, is going and measuring your, well, you gotta do this part outside. Measure your fender so you get your dimensions, and then go into your house where you have your wrap at. Mark your dimensions and cut it inside of your house. Don't bring that whole giant roll out here outside that a ton of contaminants could get and just poke holes and all kind of stuff into it. Cut your wrap inside your house. Definitely cut it all out inside of your house and then bring it out here to do it. But we got it all wiped down, got our wrap cut. Now let's get to throwing this thing on here. You guys, also one thing I highly recommend you have if you're gonna attempt this, magnets. These things are basically your second set of hands. They can stick it and hold the material wherever you need it to hold, so you can go and make those finishing cuts. Like, as you can see, I don't need all this material. It's gonna just get in my way, so there's no reason to peel that backing paper off right now and just pretty much waste all of this and have it all in your way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find my body line. I'm gonna make a slight crease in the material. You'll be able to see that. And I'm gonna trim it out. This is called cutting it down to size. It's easier to work with. So we're not gonna go directly onto where our fender ends. We're gonna leave a little excess. For one, for it to tuck underneath, and then also just to have something to hold on to. So I'm gonna come down about like 3 inches below that line. Nice sharp knife. And we are gonna just basically do a rough outline. Get rid of all this excess. Look at this giant piece of material I just removed. Now with this, I can use this to wrap my small accents like this mirror, my pillars back there. A lot of the big shops, they'll just peel that backing paper off, get that thing glassed out and be on their way. But whenever you're doing this and you're doing it at home, definitely save these scraps, because you have no idea how much in handy that these things can come whenever you're just doing like the smaller stuff. So definitely save these. All right, so now the next thing that we're gonna do, since we got it cut down in size, we got it cut down to shape, we are going to move our magnets, keep them, you know, move them about center of the panel. Definitely have more than just two, it really helps. We're gonna move them about center of the panel. and we are going to peel our backing paper off. We're not gonna glass it just yet. I'll show you guys what I mean by glassing in a moment. We're just gonna stick it. We're gonna peel our backing paper off, just stick a couple spots so it'll hold, and then we'll move on to the good stuff. So let me show you. I got most of the backing paper all peeled off except for this little small bottom section right here, because that can easily be worked out later. But right now, what we're gonna focus on is this main large section. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna glass it. Glassing it in terms means that we're just gonna pull it up, hold it tight, and then we're not gonna pull the stretch. We're just gonna pull enough to actually lay the material down over the fender to where it looks like glass, just smooth, no wrinkles. Well, you're gonna have a small little bit of wrinkles, but it's just gonna be smooth and laid over the fender. As you can see, look at how much better that looks than where it was when we first started, after we just peeled that backing paper off. This is a technique that the pros use to the point that they don't even need a heat gun. Some of them guys can just glass that thing so good that they don't even need a heat gun, and it makes their process go by so smooth and so quick. But now we're gonna actually start laying the material and sticking it to the panel. So what you wanna do is you wanna start from the center, about right here, your body line. Let me get my squeegee. Invest in a good quality squeegee too, because those other ones, the cheap ones, the felt edge will start peeling up and everything. And also with material like this, don't ever use that actual hard side. The only time you use that is to hold it, to actually holding your hand on it, or if you want to stick it in between some gaps. Always use your felt edge. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna hold it at a 45-degree angle, and we're just gonna start smoothing it in. We're gonna start smoothing it in and just laying it down. All right, so you see that? I got a little small bubble / wrinkle starting to try to form. This is the best thing about wraps. Like with paint, you'd have to wait till the end, wet sand, get all that down. Plastic dip, same thing. You're screwed. Wrap, especially vinyl, all of this material, you can always, don't forget this. Always, you guys. Whenever you have a little mistake, you can just lift it right back up. Lift it up. Bring your squeegee out. Cut it, work it, and then just like that, like it never happened, gone. I'm getting laying and smoothing the rest of this fender out. Once I have another issue, I'm gonna pop back up and get in with you guys. Back onto the time lapse. You've seen right there, you guys, sometimes, literally, honestly, the best tool you can have to lay down your wrap is these things right here, your fingers. Sometimes, like I was working, I kept getting wrinkle. I put down my squeegee and I just let my little finger, not really little, my big, nice fingers, I put just a little bit of tension on the material to hold it steady. I just put a little bit of tension on it and I just let my finger go through and walk that thing down to lay it down smooth. Sometimes your best tools for the job are already attached to you. You just work that thing down. Look at that, just smoothing it all out. But we gotta lift that back up because we got a wrinkle right here. So back on. guys are probably just like, Trey, wait, you have a giant air bubble right there. What are you gonna do about that? And you'd be right. But I'd say, for one, we're gonna stand back, we're gonna read it. We're gonna see that, okay, air could possibly go up. I haven't stuck any of this down yet, so I can easily just shove the air up that way. And then also, I'm coming down here, I got wrinkles. I need to lift this up anyway. So we're gonna read our wrinkles. We're gonna see that we got too much material bunching up like this way. So that means we need to stretch it out like that. If we had a wrinkle coming like this way, that means we need to stretch it out up, down like that. But let me show you how we do this. I'm going to lift the material up. Pulling it back. And we're gonna re-glass it. All right, now let's work it. Holding out our 45 degree. And just going to push into it. Working it down. Slicing it in, working it down. Lift up if you need to. Form an area for the air to escape. Alright guys, GoPro died, so I switched to my phone and I'm recording from that. But basically, I went through the whole section of talking about where you want to cut your seam, how you want to lay this thing down, and the GoPro died. I'm not sure what's wrong with it. I'll probably end up buying another one. But you want to get this seam, your inner fender liner seam, you want to have that right at the first body seam where it separates from this panel to the inside of that actual seam. That's where you want to make your cut. You want to run your incision right along that, so this inner fender liner can actually just cover up. And I mean, they're clean cuts, they're beautiful, but it can actually hold it and provide more protection from like rock chips, debris that gets thrown up by your tire and everything. So definitely keep going on that. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish trimming this thing off. Already got pretty much all of this trimmed up right here. I'm gonna show you guys, this is how you should trim it. You don't want to trim like right here along your panel, because it's gonna be right there and easily pull back. So what we're gonna actually do, we're gonna lift this up just a little bit. We're not gonna bring it all the way back. We're gonna lift it up to get to where our seam is. Because where it was, if we tried to force that thing in there from where it was already set down onto the headlight up here, it would have just gave it that much more of a possibility to pull back, because that material would have been so stretched out up there. So we're lifting it up, getting it relaxed, not under tension, and we're just feeding it in. Now, where you want to trim is, once you've stuck that much, you just come in here, trim center. Alright, now you can peel it off. Peel it out. Peel that off. Stick it somewhere. Go stick it on a test piece that you are unsure about. Now we're just using our squeegee, and we're folding that thing around back there. As you guys can see, I got it all trimmed up. It's all nice and smooth and laid down. Look at all of that up in there. Look at that. That's that line that I was talking about where the camera cut off. I put it right to the first body seam and laid it down beautifully. This is the section that I did last after I had peeled off that last little bit of backing paper, and this came out beautifully. Look at this front section. Look at all of that. Laid it down, looks good, looks beautiful. All right guys, so that's gonna do it for this video, but definitely if you follow the tips and tricks that I showed you inside of this video, you too can also lay down a fender just like this, and for your very first time, be very, very extremely exceptional of your time, your technique, and execution of this. So if I can do it once again, you guys can do it. Thank you for watching.